Did you just finish watching Hawkeye and you're a little disappointed and have lots of questions about what happened in that ending? Well, luckily for you, I have the answers. I'm going to go into what happened to Kingpin at the end, what's the deal with Hawkeye's wife, and hopefully clear things up for you. So firstly, we have to start off with that Kingpin ending. And obviously, spoilers ahead for Hawkeye episode 6. So at the end of episode 6, obviously we see Kate use the too dangerous arrow to blow up Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. But then, of course, by the time the cops get there, he's somehow gotten out of there and lived it because he's Kingpin. And while he's making his getaway down a snowy alley, he runs into a Trust a Bro truck, which he probably thinks is one of his mob members coming to get him. But it ultimately is Maya intercepting his getaway. And of course, Maya is here because she knows that Fisk wanted her father dead. Now, what you might have think happened is that Maya just shot Kingpin and ended it, and it was just a one and done appearance. But luckily for you, I have the answers to why there's a 99% chance that he is still alive. So in this interaction, before he gets shot, Wilson Fisk says, "We're family. Sometimes family doesn't see eye to eye." Now, you might just think this is just something he says and then he dies, but this is very important, and there's two things about this scene that are very important. The second is that the camera shifts away before he gets shot, and no, it's not just Marvel hiding the violence. It's the golden rule of the MCU: if you don't see a body, they're not dead. But let's get back to the first important thing there. Sometimes family don't see eye to eye. So in the comics, something very similar to this happens, and it is that Maya does end up chasing down Kingpin, and it's ultimately because of her father's death. The details are a bit different. It involves Daredevil instead of this Kazi storyline, but the premise is basically the same. And when she hunts him down, she does the same exact thing, shoots him point blank in the face, but Kingpin does not die. He is blinded by the incident. And I think it's either this that happens in Hawkeye that we don't see. He gets blinded by the shot, or maybe she shoots his ear and deafens him, because sometimes they take things from the comics and slightly change it. So he's definitely either blind or deaf, but he is not dead. And if you're wondering, well, is he ever going to return in the MCU then? You have to remember, they are developing an Echo series following Maya's character, and it's very likely that this is where Daredevil gets involved in the MCU, and we see Maya and Daredevil and Kingpin all in the same show. This is also likely where they're going to follow the storyline of Maya and Matt Murdock's love story that they fall into. And if you need any more convincing, why would they do such a huge buildup for Kingpin, a character that they know, and they brought back an actor who played Kingpin and was greatly loved? Why would they do so much buildup just to kill him off in one episode of screen time? Marvel knows what they're doing. Kingpin is not gone for good, so don't worry about it. What is the deal with the Rolex watch and Laura? And obviously at the end we see the back of the Rolex has the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo and the number 19. And what we get from this is that Laura Barton is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent number 19, who is also known as the Mockingbird in the comics. The next big question is, okay, well, what's the deal with Yelena now? What's next for her? And we don't really have any specific ideas or leads from this series, besides the fact that her and Kate will probably team up in the future. Now, with the possibilities of these Marvel shows being a thing now that weren't in the past, I could definitely see Yelena and Kate getting a team-up show, kind of a Falcon and Winter Soldier-esque show, where it's more street-level stuff. Maybe even that is just Hawkeye Season 2. It is just now Kate and Yelena as the main two. Kate is the new Hawkeye, quote-unquote, and maybe Clint Barton is kind of more of a mentor role who's kind of retired at this point, because I feel like they'll definitely do something like that in between. And then ultimately they will probably show up in the next Young Avengers thing that the MCU is obviously building towards, because while these are two great characters that I love, I just don't think they merit their own movie on their own probably. So let me know everything you thought about this episode. Were you disappointed by it? Did you love it? Do you think they're going to go on with the Wilson Fisk being blinded instead of being killed? There's tons to talk about. Are you a little sad that Spider-Man didn't show up? Because I know I am. So thank you so much for watching. If you love the MCU, you're going to love my channel. I have tons of videos on it, so make sure to check out some of those that are on screen now, and I'll see you in the next one.